Welcome to our second checkmate method called the throat cutting checkmate. Now what that is it's a forced attack on the center advisors really, and that's intended to break up their defense. It's a bit of a bold move when really Red's got his back up against the wall and needs to shake things up. A main theme you'll notice throughout these throat cutting checkmates is sacrifice. So we start here with that sacrifice by having the red rook come and capture the green horse. Green really has no choice here but to capture this rook with his advisor. Now red will move his advisor here, essentially pinning green's horse's leg down and also opening up our file, going back to that sort of face-to-face laughing checkmate. Remember, that's a common theme there. The green general has no choice but to move over to his corner here. Now our red rook will go from one end of the board to the other, checking. And green general here really has no choice but to move up a spot. Now we'll bring our red cannon here. Green will respond by capturing our red cannon. And finally we have checkmate by bringing our cannon over here, checking the general. Checkmate. Here we have another form of cutthroat checkmate. Before we begin though, let me point out something here. You notice green is attacking over in this area, over on green's left flank. Red seems to be mounting his attack over on his left flank. And you notice that's a very you'll see after several games that that's a very common theme for one to sort of attack on the side, for the other to attack on the other. It's sort of mutually beneficial. So we start this game by having the red cannon come over to this corner, checking our general. Green here kicks the catapult out underneath us. It's a very common tactic, again, that sort of interplay between advisor and cannon, or between cannon and any other piece providing the attacking. So what we do here is we move our red cannon up here, check. In fact, it's checked by this rook, but he's also checked by the cannon, so making this sort of a move pointless. But what green can do is put his advisor in the way. We now pull our rook back one spot, again checking the general now by our cannon. And once again, green just pushes his advisor back to the center. We again now check with our other rook, and green pushes his advisor in the way. Now here, again, cutthroat is really about making some very important sacrifices, in particular with the rooks, to disrupt the defensive wall around our general. And here we have a brilliant move. This essentially forces green to take it with his advisor. Now we recheck the general by pulling our rook back. Here, the elephant now is free to move here and take the heat off the general, put it on the advisor. Red now makes another very brilliant sacrifice, getting rid of the advisor here. And in fact, actually, this is not even a sacrifice, right? The advisor can't capture without putting himself in check, and the general cannot capture because of face-to-face laughing. So really, he has no choice but to move. Red will push his rook up one spot, again being protected by the general. And green has no choice but to move his general up. Now we take our red soldier and move him up a spot. Green has no choice but to capture the red soldier. And here we have checkmate by bringing our rook over one spot. Check. Essentially now defaulting back to face, laughing. Right? General cannot move here, and he cannot move there. Checkmate. Here we have our third and final example of the throat-cutting checkmate. Can you guess which will be our first move based on our last two examples? Well, if you guessed sacrificing a red rook, you're right. So we'll start by taking our red rook and taking that advisor. Here actually it would not be good for him to capture with that advisor because that would be checkmate. So he really has no choice but to move his general over. We then reply with red rook here to check. Green neutralizes that threat by taking out the red rook. And we now take our rook, our remaining one, and push him up a spot. The general will capture this gladly. Our red cannon now comes here. Check. He diffuses that as a common tactic by moving his advisor out of the way. But this is essentially game over by moving our red soldier up one spot. Checkmate. Right? It's pointless if our green general goes here, he's still being threatened. He cannot capture because our red general is there. And it's pointless for him to take the pawn because he really doesn't eliminate the catapult. Checkmate.